Today's lesson is AI versus AI, a battle for the truth. Hi, everybody. I'm Roger.
Hello, I'm Kiki.
And today we're going to be talking about AI, which you all have probably heard of by now. Many people may lose their jobs because of AI, but also I believe students are using this to help them write papers using a popular program like ChatGPT. Have you ever used this program before, Kiki?
Well, I've tried, but I still don't really understand it.
Well, like all software programs, of course, it takes a little while to learn. But I guess when you learn it, eventually it will help you write letters and essays and all sorts of things. And, of course, lots of university professors are worried that students are relying on this too much to write their theses or their dissertations and things like that. So they've invented this other kind of AI that's going to fight AI, and it's going to be able to detect if something was created artificially.
That's right. Let's begin with today's article.
AI versus AI, a battle for the truth. Artificial intelligence, AI, has taken the world by storm over the last year, with programs like OpenAI's ChatGPT becoming highly popular tools for work and academic purposes. Unfortunately, this has also opened the door to cheating, as students are increasingly using AI to do their assignments for them.
大家好，首先第一部分我们来看形容词 academic， 它的意思是学术的、学业的、教学的或是学校的意思。例如 Olivia quit her job to focus on her academic research. Olivia 辞了工作，为了能专心在她的学术研究上。又或者说 The university's new academic year will begin in September. 大学的新学年会在9月开始。接下来我们看到名词 assignment， 意思是作业或是任务。例如 Sylvia will fail the course if she doesn't finish her assignment by tomorrow. Sylvia 如果明天还不完成作业的话，就会被当掉。或是 The journalist's assignment is to cover the war. 该记者这次的任务是报道那场战争。
Artificial intelligence, AI, has taken the world by storm over the last year, with programs like OpenAI's ChatGPT becoming highly popular tools for work and academic purposes. Here we see the phrase taken the world by storm. So usually when we say something has taken the world by storm, it means it has grown in popularity and everybody wants to try it and it's the new trend. So it's taken the world by storm.
Yes, indeed. And the original form is to take something by storm. I could say the new popular drink has taken the country by storm. It's gotten really popular really fast. Everybody's drinking it. And yes, AI has become popular very quickly all over the world. It has taken the world by storm, with programs like OpenAI's ChatGPT becoming highly popular tools for work and academic purposes. So in the introduction, I did mention this program, ChatGPT, which a lot of students are using to help them with their studies. And if you're in school or in the university, we do use the word academic a lot of times when we describe our career there in the university. Academic purposes. What is your academic record, for example? How many classes did you take? What kind of grades did you get? And of course, that comes from the word academy, or it's related to the word academy, which usually refers to some kind of educational institution.
Unfortunately, this has also opened the door to cheating, as students are increasingly using AI to do their assignments for them. Okay, so not only is ChatGPT helping people at work, students are using them at school now, but it's also encouraging some students to cheat. So opening the door to something means giving someone the opportunity to do something. And so right now with this program, ChatGPT can do a lot of things, including, like you mentioned, it can help people write their essays and write their thesis. And here we can see students are using the AI to do their assignments for them. So what's an assignment? An assignment is a task that is given to you by your teacher, or you can be given an assignment at work as well. So this is something that you should be completing on your own with your own mind and your own thoughts. But now a lot of students are using programs like ChatGPT to help them with their assignments.
Right, and such assignments would include things like writing essays or a term paper or a thesis or a dissertation if you want to get your PhD. And again, we have this term to open the door to something, which means to give somebody an opportunity that you didn't have before. I could say, for example, open the door to the world of art and visit your local museum. So indeed, if you go to a museum, you will be exposed to the world of art that way. Maybe you don't go to museums often enough, and it probably would be a very rewarding experience if you did so. And yes, indeed, lots of students realize that this is a useful tool and they're using it to do their assignments in school. Do you think that's the right thing to do, to use ChatGPT to help you write your term paper?
In my opinion, I don't think so, because I really think that writing your term paper or essays or thesis, it should be coming from your mind, your thoughts, because that's what your professor or your teacher wants from you, right? And if you ask an AI program to help you with that, it's not something that you're processing by yourself, right? It's processed through the computer, through artificial intelligence. It's not really original.
Indeed. And of course, we'll continue discussing this when we get to our discussion starter later in today's lesson. But that brings us to the end of the first part of our lesson today. Let's move on now to the second part. We'll listen first.
In hopes of preventing such dishonesty, OpenAI launched their own AI detection tool earlier this year to determine whether content was generated by a human or AI. The tool would examine text uploaded to it and label it as unlikely, unclear if it is, possibly, likely, or very likely generated by AI. However, the tool was not as accurate as OpenAI had hoped, and less than 6 months after its introduction, it was shut down.
第二部分我们看到名词 detection， 这个字是侦测或是发掘、发现的意思。例如 This special application can fix the article's grammar problems through detection. 这款特别的应用程式可以侦测文章中的文法问题，并且修正它们。又或者说 The thief stole all the treasures while avoiding security detection. 那位小偷在没有被保全发现的情况下，偷走了所有财宝。另外，将字尾的 ion 改成 or 的话，就会变成名词 detector， 它有探测器或是检测器的意思。我们可以说 Sonia put up a smoke detector in the living room. Sonia 在客厅里安装了烟雾探测器。或者 Stan spent the day messing around with his metal detector at the beach. Stan 一整天都拿着他的金属探测器在海滩上闲晃。再来介绍动词 generate， 它的意思是生成或是产生能量、发电，也可以是引起的意思。例如 Nowadays, people can generate personalized resumes by themselves on the internet. 现今人们可以自己透过网络制作个人化履历。或是 The power plant generates electricity for the entire city. 那座发电厂生产电力供全市使用。
All right, it's time for us to discuss the second part of today's lesson. It begins by saying, in hopes of preventing such dishonesty, OpenAI launched their own AI detection tool earlier this year to determine whether content was generated by a human or AI. So this company, OpenAI, knows that its program ChatGPT is controversial. So they want people to be honest. They want to help people write their essays and come up with some better ways to express themselves. But they also realize that this is controversial, that it's causing problems. So in hopes of preventing such dishonesty, they have launched their own AI detection tool. So here we begin with the phrase in hopes of. That means they're hoping that this is the case. That is their motivation.
Right. And of course, knowing that their own program, ChatGPT, might be causing problems, the best way for the company, OpenAI, to not get in trouble, of course, is to combat this problem. So they are launching their own AI detection tool. So this AI detection tool will help determine if this piece of content or this thesis or essay, if it's written by or created by a human or artificial intelligence. So detection here, it is the action or process to uncover the truth about something or information that is unknown. So potentially, if the professor or teacher, they're not sure if this student's assignment was written by the student themselves, they could use this OpenAI detection tool to find out if this content is real or if it's really written by the student.
Right, so we've got detection, again, the act of finding out the presence of something. I could say, for example, early detection could treat many forms of cancer. Of course, if you can detect them early on, then hopefully you can be treated and you won't get really sick afterwards. And, of course, detection is a noun. A person, another noun form, a person who investigates a crime would be a detective. And so in this particular case, I guess they're serving as their own detective, and they want to determine whether content was generated by a human, a person, or AI. So here we've got the word content. That just means what is inside of something. Don't confuse this with the word content. That is a feeling of being happy and peaceful and satisfied. But content is a noun, and that just refers to something contained inside of something. Or you could also say contents. In some cases, you can add an S to it, like the table of contents in your book that would list all the chapters and things like that. Or you could say, oh, I don't understand the content of your speech. Could you explain it more clearly for us?
Right. So content could be either physical or it could be also information. So sometimes when we see videos on YouTube, that's video content. But we can also talk about the contents of your bag, right?
Yeah, what's in my bag right now? I don't really remember. It's pretty messy in there. But in any case, yes, we're talking about whether content is created or generated by a human or AI. So here we've got generated, which means to cause something to happen. We're always looking for new ways to generate electricity, for example, because we seem to be having problems with that. Petroleum may be polluting the environment, so we're looking for new ways to get some energy to generate electric power. And the tool would examine text uploaded to it and label it as unlikely, unclear if it is, possibly, likely, or very likely generated by AI. So you use this tool and then you upload content, you upload an essay or something like that. And then this particular tool will determine, it will find out whether it fits these different criteria. Unlikely, unclear, if it is, possibly, likely, or very likely. And, of course, you got to be careful if it's very likely because then it seems to be almost 100% to be artificially created.
However, the tool was not as accurate as OpenAI had hoped. And less than 6 months after its introduction, it was shut down. So they created this AI detection tool because they also want to protect their own reputation. They don't want students to be using ChatGPT to cheat all the time or to hand in their assignments for them. So they released this AI detection tool and it just wasn't as accurate. The tool did not work as well as they thought it would. So, for example, it could be maybe you wrote your own essay and they used this detection program and it actually said it was very likely generated by AI, but actually I wrote it myself. So the accuracy or how sure the program was, whether or not it was written by AI, it wasn't good enough. So they shut down the tool after 6 months. To shut something down is to stop something or to turn something off or to close something. And in this case, when you launch a tool, you're allowing users all over the world to have access to it. And when they found that this AI detection is not working accurately, they have to shut it down so people can stop using it.
Yeah, for example, because of the food poisoning, the restaurant was shut down. It was closed by the government because they were serving food that was making people sick. And again, this program just wasn't working very well. They probably tested it and the results were not accurate, so they decided to shut it down, to turn it off, and now we don't have that program, but I'm sure they're working on it and it may be released in a newer version shortly. Okay, let's move on now to the third and final paragraph for today. We'll listen first.
Other AI detectors like GPT-0 and those from companies like Turnitin and CopyLeaks have also been created, but just how reliable they are is open to debate. Therefore, while some schools and universities have already banned ChatGPT from school devices and networks, it remains to be seen whether any AI detectors will ever provide a foolproof way of distinguishing AI-generated content from the real thing.
第三部分我们来看到形容词 foolproof， 它有计划、机械等操作简便的、万无一失的或是防呆的意思。例如 The camera's foolproof system is suitable for those who are new to photography. 这台相机容易操作的系统适合那些刚接触摄影的人。或者 Since being robbed 3 years ago, the Art Museum has installed a new foolproof security system. 自从3年前遭到抢劫后，那间美术馆装设了一款万无一失的全新保全系统。最后来介绍 distinguish 这个动词，它是区分或是辨别的意思。例如 Pam has trouble distinguishing between green and blue. Pam 对区分绿色和蓝色有困难。又或者说 I can't distinguish the first image from the second one. 我无法分辨第一张和第二张图片的不同。
Okay, now let's talk about the third part. Other AI detectors like GPT-0 and those from companies like Turnitin and CopyLeaks have also been created, but just how reliable they are is open to debate. So there are other companies like Turnitin and CopyLeaks. They also made their own versions of AI detectors. So there are other programs like GPT-0 that are different from ChatGPT's AI detection. And they are other options that people can use to try this AI detection to determine whether or not something was created by human or AI. But their reliability is still open to debate. So when something is open to debate, it means that people are not too sure about a certain situation or a certain fact. So it's not a definite yes or no if this program is very reliable or not reliable. And usually when something is open to debate, it means that different people have different opinions about a certain subject.
Right. So, for example, everybody agrees that poverty is a problem, but what the government should do about it is open to debate. Lots of people have different ideas for tackling this problem. And indeed, we just don't know how reliable these programs are. How reliable they are is open to debate. You could also say is debatable. People can discuss this, and many people have different opinions. There's no definitive answer. Therefore, while some schools and universities have already banned ChatGPT from school devices and networks, it remains to be seen whether any AI detectors will ever provide a foolproof way of distinguishing AI-generated content from the real thing. Well, that's a very long sentence there, but basically we're saying some schools and universities have already banned ChatGPT from school devices. Even though that's true, we still have to wait and see what's going to happen. Now, if something's banned, it's restricted, usually by some kind of government or some kind of school body. For example, sometimes countries don't like what authors are saying, so books get banned. They're forbidden. People cannot read them. They are banned. And a device, of course, usually is some kind of sophisticated electronic machine that you use, like your smartphone, your laptop computer, or your tablet.
It remains to be seen whether any AI detectors will ever provide a foolproof way of distinguishing AI-generated content from the real thing. So when something remains to be seen, it means that we're still trying to observe what the outcome of something will be. So in this case, we're still trying to see if these AI detectors, how they're going to actually help with the ChatGPT cheating problem or plagiarism and things like that. So when something remains to be seen, we're still observing and we're still trying to determine our opinion about a certain situation.
Right, and also in this sentence, we've got the word foolproof, which means it can't go wrong. It's going to work securely. We don't need to worry about that. And here we've got the term to distinguish A from B, which means you tell the difference between one thing and another. For example, my sister Lisa has some twins, but I have difficulty distinguishing Johnny from Jimmy. They look exactly the same. I can't distinguish between them, or I can't distinguish one with the other.
And the word distinguish is also to point out or to recognize that something is different. So in certain situations, we can also describe a person to be a distinguished gentleman or a distinguished author because we know that maybe they wrote a very special book that is very well known and they're just such great writers, so they are a distinguished person.
And the real thing, of course, means the actual version of something. It's not a copy or it's not being duplicated by somebody else. Okay, that brings us to the end of our lesson. Let's listen to our very distinguished Chinese teacher, Hanny.
各位同学大家好，我是 Hanny。 我们来看今天的文法重点。课文第二部分的一开始提到，希望能防止这种不诚实的行为，也就是作弊的行为。 OpenAI 在今年早些时候推出了他们自己 AI 侦测工具，来判断内容是由人类还是 AI 所产生。那文中是用 in hopes of preventing 什么什么来表达希望能防止什么什么。 in hopes 或者是用 in the hope或是 in hope， 后面可以接 of 加名词或动名词去表达期待希望能怎么样，抱持怀着什么样的希望。那这个用法除了像课文一样把它摆在句首，其实也可以接在主要子句之后。例如 They moved to the countryside in hopes of living a quiet life. 他们搬到乡下，希望能够过着宁静的生活。那另外 in hopes 或是 in the hope 或是 in hope 后面也可以接 that 子句。举例来说 We waited for a while in the hope that the rain would stop. 我们等了一会儿，希望雨会停下来。好，那么课文第三部分最后一句提到 AI 侦测器是否能提供一个万无一失的方法来区分 AI 生成的内容和真实内容，目前仍是未知数。文中是用It remains to be seen whether 点点点来表达是否怎么样仍是未知数。那 remain to be seen 是用来描述某件事还不确定，还说不准，仍然是未知数，也就是目前状况仍不清楚，有待观察的语义。那我们来介绍几个常用的相关句型。第一个呢，可以用 It remains to be seen后面接 W 疑问词或是 if 或是 whether 所引导的名词子句。好，那这边它是表达说是否怎么样尚不能确定，什么什么还有待观察。那么其中的 it 是当虚主词，真正的主词是在 seen 后方，我们用这个 which 疑问词啊 if 或是 whether 所引导的名词子句，这才是真正的主词哦，也就是我们持续要观察注意的事物。举例来说 It remains to be seen if the strike will take place as planned. 罢工是否按照计划举行仍是未知数，这件事情啊还有待观察。那第二个介绍的句型是 What remains to be seen is 后面加上 which 疑问词或是 if 或是 whether 引导的名词子句。 好，那这时候呢是用来表达说什么什么还是未知数。那么其中的 what remains to be seen 它是名词子句，用来当主词，必须把它视为单数哦，所以我们后面才是搭配单数动词 is。 举例来说， What remains to be seen is Who will win the competition? 谁会赢得比赛啊？尚未见真章呢。好，那么以上今天的重点整理，我们来回顾今天的单字吧。
Academic. Naomi received an award for her latest academic achievement. Assignment. I need to complete my assignment for history class by tomorrow afternoon. Content. Dr. Chambers spent hours deciding on the content for the new course. Generate. The wind farm can generate enough electricity to power an entire town. Ban. To promote public health, the city has banned smoking in all indoor areas. Device. The students were told to keep all their electronic devices turned off during the exam. Distinguish. The museum's art expert is able to distinguish a true Picasso painting from a careful fake.
Discussion Starter starts now!
Here's our discussion starter for today. The question is, do you think AI detection tools will ever be able to accurately distinguish AI-generated content from human-generated content? Why or why not?
I think they will definitely be able to create programs as they've already done, but because these AI programs that are creating these things, they're taking sources from different forms of media to create something new. It might be really hard for the computer to really determine whether words are written by a person, because they'll be able to mix these words up so that it's not really copy and pasting a sentence from somewhere else, right? So it might be harder to determine if it is or not.
You got a point there, but I think AI detection tools will be able to distinguish AI created from human created content, since those boys in Silicon Valley and other places are really good with those computers and they know how to write programs. So eventually I believe they'll be able to figure this out. Well, that brings us to the end of another edition of our program, and please make sure you join us again next time. From all of us here, I am Roger.
I am Kiki.
See you next time.